welcome back to my channel. My name is Jody, and on Jody's Journals, we follow my bullet journaling process, my gardening process, and anything else creative that I want to do. Today we are doing a paint with me. I got a new set of gouache paints, and the trend seems to be to paint a scene from a Studio Ghibli movie. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to be painting a scene of the forest sprites going through the leaf tunnel in the movie My Neighbor Totoro. And I hope you enjoy watching me figure out how to paint using gouache. This is the first painting I've done with this set other than the swatch test. And there's definitely a learning curve. So I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy. So for this painting, I'm starting off with some of the darker values, and I'm just laying in and blocking in the color in the general areas that I want. And then I will go back in and add in other tones and hues. What I'm using here is a black mixed with a dark brown, and I'm watering it down so that you get lots of different variations. And I'm leaving the brushstrokes very thick and very painterly, I guess would be a great way to describe that. Now I'm starting to fill in the pathway, and again I'm starting with the darker values. I'm using a dark sienna brown, and I'm using more of a stippling effect with my brush to create some more texture. What you don't see is right to the left off camera is my reference picture, and I have already penciled in the basic shapes of the painting. So I'm not just pulling this out of my brain. I did pencil it out and use a reference photo. So that's just something that you don't necessarily see as I'm recording while I'm painting. Studio Ghibli movies are well known for their art styles. They are usually hand-drawn and well-written. They're very fanciful. And their color palettes tend to be very cohesive and vibrant. They're also known a lot of the times for their landscapes. Within these fanciful worlds, the background paintings and the landscapes that the characters exist within are just stunning to look at. So these movies are known not just for the storytelling, but also for the incredible artwork that goes into telling the story. And there's just no way in the world I would ever be able to recreate a Studio Ghibli scene perfectly. The level of talent is just enormous, and I do appreciate the artwork in those movies a lot. Now I'm just blocking in some basic leaf shapes. I will go back in later with different shades of grays and greens to add more dimension to these leaves. However, I'm just sort of getting the basic shapes in first before I go back in and add the detail. I also want to get the basic shape of the leaves put in because later I will be putting in the trunks that lead up to these leaves, and I just want to make sure that it looks natural. Now that the basic leaf shapes are in, I'm going back in with a brown to add in the major shadows and also filling in the blank space around the leaves with that dark brownish blackish mixture so that it gives the leaves a little more dimension. So now I'm adding in darker shades to make the trunks of the trees. In the reference photo, it looks like they're in a tunnel of trees and they're like walking away from you, the little forest spirits. So I want the trunks to sort of curve from the pathway and then sort of curve like up and over into the leaves to give it this illusion of being in a round tunnel. So you can do a lot with the shapes of the lines that you do to create dimension. I'm also mixing in some highlight colors, so some white is mixed in there to give it sort of a streaky look. and to make it look like rough bark on these trunks. When working with gouache, you want to make sure each layer dries before you add in the next layer, because it's a water-based paint and your colors can get muddy if you lift up any of the pigment from underneath and it's not fully dry. So while the tree trunks are drying, I'm going to go back up to the leaves because they are now dry and start adding in more shadow colors using a darker green color. I water it down quite a bit so some of the color underneath it does show through. And then I'll come back in with a lighter green and add in some highlights. Now that the leaves have another layer on and they're drying, I'm going to head back down to the pathway and dapple in some lighter green color, like a mossy green. And that is just to sort of highlight where the imaginary light in the painting is peeking through the leaves, and just give it a more dimensional look. With paintings like this, you could literally go on forever tweaking this little spot, adjusting this shade, putting in more detail, but I just wanted to do a quick painting. This took me a couple of hours, And I wanted to just paint something to help me get to know the gouache paints. The last step is going to be to bring the little forest spirits to life and color them in. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing next. I love these little forest spirits. I love that they're just these little changeable beings. They've got little pointy cat ears. And in this scene, they're walking away from you, so you get to see their little bunny tails. And I do paint those in there. And the bigger spirit, the little blue guy, he is carrying his little belongings in a pink sack. And I don't know. Like I said, there's a bit of nostalgia attached to the movie My Neighbor Totoro for me. And I loved it growing up. I watched it all the time at my grandma's. So painting them was a nice little trip down memory lane, and very exciting for me to explore a new art medium, recreating a scene that I love. So with those little guys all painted, done and dusted, it's time to pack up my paints, pop the lid back on, and then I will show you the final result after we peel the tape off, which is most satisfying. And then I will show you the painting I created and the reference picture. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to comment below anything you want to tell me, go for it. And hopefully I will see you back here again soon. Bye!